Hello, I am Clara from the Structure by Tempo support team, and welcome to this quick guide on how to migrate your structured data from server or data center to cloud. In this video, we are going to cover the migration using the Jira Cloud Migration Assistant, or JCMA for short. These are the topics we are going to talk about in this video. First, a comparison between the Jira site import method versus JCMA. Then, how JCMA migrates structure. Next, how to get prepared to migrate structure using JCMA. Then, how to migrate structure using JCMA. Possible problems you may encounter and how to fix them. And finally, how to reach out to us if you need help. Let's get started by talking about the differences between the Jira site import method and JCMA. The Jira site import method is the native site backup and restore function to move your data from server or DC to cloud. It's important to note that this method is not supported by Structure for migration to cloud. In case you do not want or cannot use JCMA for any reason to migrate your Jira projects, you can rebuild your structures manually on your cloud instance afterwards. We will link an article about this in the video's description. On the other hand, JCMA is a free add-on built and maintained by Atlassian that makes the process of migrating from on-premise to cloud much easier. It is a project-based method that allows you to select with more flexibility which projects and add-ons you want to migrate to cloud. Using this method, structured data will be migrated and rebuilt automatically, so you will not need to do it manually. It is important to note that, due to architectural differences between structure on-prem and structure cloud, there are still features from the plugin on-prem that do not exist yet in structure cloud. In the description of this video, we will link an article highlighting the difference between the two. In the end, we will also explain how you can get in touch with our support team and make a feature request. Here is how structures are migrated using JCMA. To migrate structured data, a separate structure migration will run alongside a Jira migration at the same time, resulting in Jira projects and structures being migrated together. We will go into more detail about this process very soon. When it comes to migrating structures, it is possible to do it either partially and migrating only specific structures, or to migrate all existing structures at once. When the migration is finished, the selected structures will be recreated on your Jira Cloud instance based on their hierarchies, made both manually and automatically by generators, including the default view and associated views for each structure. Now let's talk about how to prepare to migrate structure using JCMA. Before moving forward, we recommend that you read our migration step-by-step documentation, our notes on how to prepare your structure boards for migration, and the Atlassian pre-migration checklist. All of these documents can be accessed in the video description. Some of the precautions described there are important to guarantee a successful migration, such as these. JCMA requires the newest version of the structure plugin to migrate. So if you are still using a considerably older version of the plugin, you will need to update to be able to migrate. Jira projects also need to be migrated using JCMA in order for our plugin to be able to rebuild the structures correctly. So make sure that all necessary projects are also being migrated with JCMA. Make sure that all domains are not blocked in order for the migration to run successfully. And finally, test your migration in a controlled environment before doing it on a production instance. Now we are going to make a quick demonstration of how to migrate structure using JCMA. To start, go to Administration, System, and Migrate to Cloud. After you go through all of these steps, you can go to Create a Migration. Here we are going to choose to migrate all data at once, but you can also choose what to migrate according to your preference. If everything looks good and you don't have any errors or it looks as you expect it to look, we can go ahead and review the migration. And then you can click on Save and not Run. Before running the migration set, you need to add your structures. Now go to Administration, Structure, and Migrate Structure to Cloud. And let's create a new configuration. It's very important to give it the exact same name you used for the Jira migration in the previous step. If the names do not match exactly, structured data would not be migrated. In this step, you can also enable Migrate Structure Gantt if you wish to migrate this plugin alongside Structure. Here we are going to migrate only 2 structures, but you can also choose to enable all structures and views if you wish to. Just be advised that if you choose this latter option, this means that all structures from the instance will be migrated regardless of which projects you have selected in the JCMA migration. Now you can save and make ready for migration. Now return to Administration, System, Migrate to Cloud, and run the JCMA migration. Now your migration has started and it might take a while until it finishes. Please be advised that when Structure is migrating, the progress bar remains at 0% until it is finished, and this is normal. Once the migration finishes, you can take the following steps in Jira Cloud. First, click on Go to Cloud Site and check that all users, groups, and projects have been migrated successfully. Then you can check the structure migration status. Go to Settings, Apps, and in the left panel, locate the Structure Cloud section and click on Migration. This will bring up a list of migrations with the status of each one. You can receive the following statuses: Review required, Done, In progress, or Failed. To review the structures in each migration, click on the migration name. Each structure will have one of the following statuses: Review required, Done, or Failed. Done means that the structure has been migrated and is ready to be used. And Review required means that the structure has been migrated but needs to be reviewed. For additional details about the migration, including which items require review, click on Audit. Then, to review the structure, you can click on the Manage Structure button on the audit screen, or on the structure's name on the migration screen. If there are any items that require review, you will see a message at the top of the structure with the steps that should be completed before using the structure. And finally, once you have reviewed the structure and updated it as necessary, you can return to the banner at the top and click Mark Reviewed. This banner will not appear for this structure again. Once all of the structures have been marked as reviewed, all of their statuses will be done, and the migration status will also be done. At this point, you are good to go. During and after the migration, there are a few possible problems that you can encounter. The first one is if your migration gets stuck. Now, each server NDC instance is different and has its own particularities. If you notice that the progress bar of your migration isn't changing after a few hours, this could mean that some of your migration tasks didn't run and got stuck. Although the migration is going to keep spinning in your JCMA, it's technically stopped. If you are running a migration test, you can get in touch with us and we can investigate the root cause of the problem. Then we can fix it before the production migration. If you are doing a production migration, we can help you identify the root cause of the problem and what are the next steps to continue. Another attention point is that you will notice that individual structure permissions are not migrated with JCMA. This is expected behavior. Individual permissions of structures are indeed not being migrated with JCMA. They can only be recreated manually on the cloud instance after the migration. Unfortunately, due to cloud architecture being significantly different from the server NDC, some functionalities can't be implemented in the same way as they exist on server NDC, and it can create a limitation for the migration. The permission model in this case is not the same, and it can't be recognized when it moves to cloud. Our production team is currently working on a way to implement this in the future, but as of June 2023, there isn't an ETA on this. And the last one, migrating in more than one phase and ending up with duplicate structures. Now, there are a few different ways that you can end up with duplicate structures on cloud. It's important to note that if you perform more than one migration and select migrate all structures in views or the same structure selection in both migration jobs, these structures will be migrated twice. That is, they will be duplicates on instance with different structure IDs. It is also important to note that there is no way of the system knowing that a specific structure has already been migrated in a previous migration job and not migrated again if it is selected again in a new migration job. If you have any questions that weren't addressed in this video, please raise a request in our support portal. The link is available in the video description. When you do, there are a few important pieces of information you can share with us to speed up the troubleshooting process of a migration that didn't work as expected, such as the URL of the cloud instance you are migrating to, time and date of your last migration attempt, and a support zip from your server or DC instance. It's important to note that this is the current status of the migration process in June 2023, so these steps may change without further notice. Please get in touch with us if you need any help. And thank you for your time.